For over 5,000 years, the Nile River has been the beating heart of Egypt, a slender, life-giving vein cutting through an immense desert. Imagine a parched land of endless sand where survival seems impossible, suddenly transformed by a river that floods its banks each year, laying down a thick, fertile layer of black silt. This slow, steady rise of the Nile was nature's gift, a miracle so consistent it became the very foundation of Egyptian life. Farmers planted crops timed to its rhythms, villages flourished on its banks, and mighty cities grew. The Nile was not just water, it was a sacred force, a god, a highway, and the clock. Without it, the towering pyramids, legendary pharaohs, and vibrant culture of ancient Egypt would have never come to be.
Before Egypt was a single nation, it was two lands, Upper Egypt in the south with its narrow valley, and Lower Egypt in the north, spreading wide in the Nile Delta. Around 3100 BCE, a remarkable leader named Narmer united these two lands. Picture two rivers merging into one unstoppable current. That is what Narmer's union represented. Wearing the double crown, he was the first pharaoh, a ruler believed to be chosen by the gods to maintain Mayat, the cosmic order. This unification marked the dawn of Egypt's civilization, where kingship was divine and the foundation for millennia of culture, religion, and governance was laid.
To govern an empire and honor their gods, Egyptians developed hieroglyphs, a beautiful, intricate system of writing made up of symbols that conveyed everything from royal decrees to prayers. Imagine scribes carefully painting on papyrus scrolls, recording history, law, and myth with painstaking precision. This sacred script was not only a means of communication, but a bridge between humans and the divine, preserving stories and rituals that ensured harmony in both this world and the next. Through hieroglyphs, Egypt's memory was etched in stone and ink, surviving thousands of years.
Between roughly 2686 and 2181 BCE, Egypt entered its Age of the Pyramids. This was a time when pharaohs were seen as gods on earth, rulers with absolute power, and their tombs reflected their divine status. Picture the desert filled with tens of thousands of workers hauling immense limestone blocks, engineers calculating perfect alignments, and architects planning colossal monuments. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu, is one of the most astounding achievements of human engineering, a vast stone monument that has withstood millennia, symbolizing eternal kingship and cosmic harmony. These pyramids were not just tombs, they were stairways to the heavens.
The Great Pyramid was designed with extraordinary precision. Its base covers 13 acres, and its sides align almost perfectly with the cardinal points of the compass. Inside, shafts point towards important stars believed to be spiritual gateways for the pharaoh's soul. Imagine the labor and planning required to position over 2 million blocks of stone, some weighing as much as an elephant, all crafted without modern machinery. The pyramid embodied the Egyptian vision of life after death, a bridge connecting Earth and the divine cosmos. At the heart of Egyptian culture was Maat, the concept of truth, balance, and cosmic order. The pharaoh was the living guarantor of Maat, responsible for maintaining harmony between humans, gods, and nature. Imagine the pharaoh as a cosmic shepherd, guiding the people, ensuring the sun rose, the Nile flooded, and justice prevailed. The balance between chaos and order was sacred. Disruption threatened the entire universe. Through laws, rituals, and temple worship, Egyptians sought to live in tune with this eternal principle. Egyptian gods personified every aspect of nature and human experience. Ra, the sun god, sailed his celestial bark across the sky each day, fighting the forces of darkness. Osiris ruled the afterlife and symbolized resurrection and eternal life. Isis, his wife, was the goddess of magic and motherhood. Anubis, with the head of a jackal, guarded the dead and oversaw embalming. Temples dedicated to these deities were centers of worship, filled with vibrant statues, murals, and rituals designed to honor and communicate with the divine.
The story of Osiris is Egypt's greatest myth. Betrayed and murdered by his brother Set, Osiris's body was scattered across Egypt. Isis, his devoted wife, gathered his pieces and brought him back to life through powerful magic. This myth was more than legend. It was a metaphor for the Nile cycle of death and rebirth, and the human hope for life beyond death. Osiris became the judge of souls, overseeing the weighing of the heart, where the deceased's purity determined their fate in the afterlife.
To ensure the soul's survival, Egyptians perfected mummification, a meticulous process that preserved the body by removing internal organs, drying it with natron salt, and wrapping it in linen bandages. Priests performed these rituals with sacred chants, placing amulets and spells among the wrappings for protection. This art and science were expressions of deep spiritual belief. Death was a passage, not an end, and the body had to remain intact for the soul's journey to eternity. Tombs were painted with spells and prayers from the Book of the Dead, a collection of texts designed to help the deceased navigate dangers, overcome judgment, and reach paradise. Imagine a soul traveling through dark caverns, guided by magic words and protected by divine forces. The afterlife was a complex realm, but Egyptians believed that with the right knowledge, one could achieve eternal happiness in the field of reeds, a perfect version of life on earth.
After the Old Kingdom's collapse, Egypt entered a dark time known as the First Intermediate Period. Political power fragmented, famine struck, and chaos reigned. Imagine a once great nation divided into rival factions, temples abandoned, and the Nile's blessings forgotten by some. Yet even in turmoil, the seeds of renewal were sown. From around 2055 to 1650 BCE, Egypt rose again during the Middle Kingdom. Pharaohs emphasized justice and welfare, restoring Ma'at. Society flourished with new literature exploring human emotions, morality, and adventure. Art became more personal, and the administration grew stronger. The Middle Kingdom was Egypt's Renaissance, a period of hope, rebuilding, and cultural flowering.
The New Kingdom, 1550 to 1077 BCE, was Egypt's most powerful era, marked by territorial expansion, monumental architecture, and legendary rulers. Pharaohs like Hatshepsut, Akhenaten, and Ramses II transformed Egypt into a superpower, building massive temples and waging epic battles. Cities thrived, and art and religion reached new heights. Hatshepsut defied tradition to become one of Egypt's most successful rulers. Her reign was marked by peace, trade expeditions, and magnificent architectural projects, including her famous mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahri, a stunning blend of nature and art. She presented herself with the regalia of a male pharaoh, symbolizing her authority and divine right.
Ramses II, the Great, was a legendary warrior and builder.
He fought the famous Battle of Kadesh, secured peace treaties, and commissioned colossal statues and temples, including Abu Simbel. His reign lasted over 6 decades, making him one of the longest reigning pharaohs and a symbol of Egyptian strength and prosperity. Temples like Karnak and Luxor were not only places of worship, but hubs of political power. Massive columns, detailed reliefs, and ritual spaces created awe and reinforced the divine order. Priests maintained daily rituals, offerings, and festivals to honor the gods and sustain Mut throughout the land.
To protect royal treasures from looters, pharaohs built hidden tombs in the Valley of the Kings. These underground palaces were richly decorated with spells and images designed to safeguard the soul. The tomb of Tutankhamun, discovered intact in 1922, revealed treasures and mysteries that reignited global fascination with Egypt.
By the first millennium BCE, Egypt faced conquest by foreign powers. The Persians ruled briefly before Alexander the Great conquered Egypt, founding the city of Alexandria and establishing the Ptolemaic dynasty. This era mixed Egyptian and Greek culture, culminating in Cleopatra VII's reign, a time of political intrigue and the twilight of pharaonic Egypt.
Cleopatra was a brilliant and charismatic ruler who sought to preserve Egypt's independence through alliances with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Despite her efforts, Egypt eventually became a Roman province after her defeat and suicide. She remains a symbol of power, romance, and tragedy in world history.
Though the pharaohs' era ended, Egypt's legacy endured. The pyramids, temples, and art continue to inspire wonder. Modern archaeology uncovers new secrets, revealing the ingenuity, spirituality, and resilience of this ancient civilization. Egypt's contributions to writing, architecture, religion, and governance shaped the course of human history.
As the sun sets over the Nile and the pyramids, we reflect on a civilization that sought harmony with nature and the divine, that grappled with life and death, and that built monuments to eternity. The Nile still flows, carrying stories from ancient sands into the future, inviting us to marvel, learn, and dream.